Okay, so I'm just conscious of the fact that there are people around, but I'm going to quickly show you how I like to set up my bench. So with the seat, I like to have it on like the second hole, so it's kind of tilted up, and then with the back part, I like to not have it on this one, but like the one that's just over here. Okay, I'm hoping that works. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible to everyone around me. So we're going to do some shoulder presses, all right? So I'll show you the angle of the bench in a sec when there are less people, but basically I'm not going straight like this. I'm keeping it slightly at an angle. It's just better for positioning when you're doing the weights. So I've got a couple of 8s over here. Typically I use 10 not to flex. And again, if you need to check your form with anyone else, I would recommend just go ahead, like go and ask somebody who actually fully knows what they're doing. When I do, a lot of people like kick up. You shouldn't have to do that when you first start out because I don't expect you to be using the heaviest weight in the bloody world. So what I like to do is we're going to start out, oh my god, so we're very up close and personal, aren't we, Priyanka? Let's go there. Alright, it's like I can't win, like I get someone on either side, I feel so bad. What I like to do is a lot of people make this mistake of keeping their arms out all the way. Try and keep them more, your elbows more in, it's just better for your shoulders. Well, it's a really bad angle, isn't it? Anyway, and then you just push up. Okay, so this is where we're going to exhale. This is the demo I was giving earlier. Inhale, coming down. You want kind of like right angles, but again, we're not keeping our shoulders all the way out. Keep your head back. Okay, and push up. Inhale, push up, inhale, try and keep it even. Okay, push up, inhale, and I really just want you to focus on getting your form right, you know? If it's feeling really uncomfortable and you're feeling a lot of strain, you can try and move your seat back a little bit more, and that might help to put the focus more in your shoulders. I hope that helps. We'll do it in person together at some point, I don't know when, but then I can check and see that you're doing okay. Let's get on to the next move. Okay, so I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I have not used this machine in a minute. The reason I've given it to you is because I think it's going to be a nice way for you to practice using your muscles and not have the worry of like having to use dumbbells and thinking about form and like your back and all of that. I think it's a nice way to start working your chest. So I sat down and what I found was this. The person obviously before me had a really high weight, which is bloody impressive, but could not be me, at least not right now. And when I did this, what you're finding is that my arms are like this. What we ideally want is to kind of be like this. Like we want to keep our, our elbows in line. You want your feet to ideally be on the floor, but I'll be honest, I'm kind of short. So sometimes my feet will be on the arm bar things. As long as you're feeling stable in your feet, it's fine. We don't want this, because if you think about it, what that's going to look like is pushing forward like this. That's kind of like my forearms. It could hurt my joints. I don't want that. What I want is to basically be in a position where I'm like that. So I'm going to bring my seat up so that I get that nice sort of right angle, if you will, in my arms. With machines, I don't want you to feel self-conscious in moving and adjusting them. Each gym is unique, each machine is unique. You might find you need to adjust it a couple times. It's just about finding what is comfortable for you and what allows you to get the best range of movement or motion. I still don't bloody know what it is. And what feels healthiest for your muscles. So I'm going to give this a go. It's like, I think, showing like 3 holes. And I've left a little section in your Notion as well where you can write down any of your machine settings for what it is that you're doing at the gym. So I've got mine at about 25 kg. Again, we don't want to be like dying. What we want is to be able to feel a nice stretch when we get back here, and then we can like push back up. Okay, so I can't even get my feet on the floor right now, I'll be perfectly honest with you. But it's mostly like an upper body movement. I'm not going to bring my shoulders up. We want to make sure that we're nice down. What you can think about is your shoulder blades kind of being down, relaxed. Okay, I'm going to start here and we're going to push forward. Oh, that's definitely heavy for me. Yeah, I got a little ahead of myself. And then I'm going to control the weight back. I'm definitely going to bring that down. That was, I don't do chest actually, come to think of it. That's probably why. So anyway, we're going to inhale, take a nice breath in, push. Okay, one way I like to track myself is looking at my elbows. Just see where my elbows are, and then you can kind of tell if you're putting an even pressure. If you find one arm is up here and the other one's back here, that's not very great. Like, you want to make sure that you're focusing on your move, making sure you're nice and symmetrical. So I push, and on the eccentric, inhale, making sure that we're getting that nice stretch at the front of the chest. You'll also find when you're on a machine, there's that point where the weights hit and they go back to where they were when you're not doing anything. Kind of machine is like at rest, if you will. One way I like to tease myself and my muscles is by not letting myself go fully to rest. So I might push, then I'll track the weight, see where it is, tease it, tease it, tease it. Don't let it touch. So you don't even fully come to rest. Push back. Inhale. Bring it down. Don't fully come to rest. Push again. That's your next rep. Inhale. And you should get a nice thing going over there. There you go. Okay, queen. So I'm actually filming this in a different order because of machine availability. But thank you for bearing with me on my weird shoulder press demonstration. Yeah, I've come here at, to be fair, I've come here at a pretty good time. It's not too nuts. Anyway, so the next thing we're going to do is an overhead press, I think that's what we call it, with some tricep push-ups. So we're going to do a little superset. This is a way of making your workout a little bit more compact and getting it done sooner rather than later, just making it very effective, utilizing time nicely. So what we're going to do, we want this to be a burner. Okay, I want you to, because you've only got 4 moves effective, 5 in this workout, sorry for any background noise. We really want to make sure that this is as effective as possible. Obviously, when I say I want you to start out with light weights, this doesn't mean that I want you to stay at light weights. I hope that incrementally we can progress. We can talk about progression or progressive overload in another, in one of our check-ins. And then it's not about adding weight every single time necessarily, but it's just making sure that we're making progress. But we'll get there eventually. We'll start out a little lighter. Sorry, I digress. We'll start out a little lighter now, but I still want you to aim for that burn. I still want you to aim, like first couple of weeks, let's just focus on form as opposed to like the intensity of the workout. Once you start getting familiar with the form, that's when I want you to start making sure that you're really getting that burn, especially towards the end of your sets. It should start to feel difficult, it should start to feel like I'm not sure I can do this. And then by set 3, ideally we want you going to failure. So what that means is literally mechanical failure. Not that you're injuring yourself, but you're like, I can't move, like my body won't let me go any further. And you might see that in some of my workout things online or on my Instagram where I'm like shaking and trembling. My body physically does not allow me to go further. Remember, we never want to compromise our form with not prioritizing failure over form, never. But we want to aim for that because that's when change occurs. When it gets hard, that's when change is beginning to happen, okay? So anyway, for this, what I want you to do, again, I'm going with a slightly lighter weight for demonstration purposes. For this, I like to sit on my, sit on my knees? I don't know. I don't like to be up like this because I think that can add extra strain to the back. We want to be nice and relaxed. I think this is a nice way of also staying grounded. If you're sat cross-legged, it's easy to slouch. This is a nice way of staying upright. So what I like to do is take my weight. You don't want anything too crazy. If you want to warm up your wrists as well, by all means warm up your wrists. And I like to take this and keep it back. Now what we're going to do, keep your elbows close to your head. All right, if you start bringing them out, it reduces the tension on the triceps. You want to keep them close to your head. You should, at least for the very beginning to 3/4 of the way through your set, should be comfortable to bring your weight back here. If you can only bring it here, or if you can't even lift it over your head, it's too heavy, okay? Reduce your weight. You want to be able to go for 10 reps in this case, okay? So we're gonna bring it back here. You wanna feel a nice stretch in your triceps, okay? When you feel that stretch, that's when you know that you're kind of you've hit sort of that max range of movement, if you will, okay? When you feel that stretch back there, that's a nice place to stop, and then you can start bringing up, okay? So we're gonna push up, all right? So my weight is over here. You don't need to rush through this. If it takes you time to get into position, that's completely fine. We're gonna start up here, I guess, or down here. Let's have a look. I think we can start up here. All right, we're gonna keep our elbows nice and close to our head. Inhale, bringing the weight back so we can't see it. It's hidden behind our head. And then we're gonna push up using our triceps. Okay, we're gonna try not to do anything with the wrists. Okay, it's all in the muscle. Coming down, inhale, push up, inhale. This is the eccentric. This is the easy, quote unquote, easy part. And then push up, okay? Again, inhale. And push up. Again, you see how my elbows aren't coming out? When your elbows come out, that means you're kind of struggling. The tension is coming off of your triceps. We want to be able to keep the tension in our triceps. All right, and push up. When you're done with your reps for this, you can bring your weight down safely, up and down, and we're going to go straight in to your tricep push-ups, okay? We don't want any break here. So it's 10 reps of that and 10 reps of tricep push-ups. For this, I don't need you to be on your knees. If you can, do them, I don't need you to be on your toes. If you can do them on your toes, then please do that. We want you to push yourself, all right? If you can't, that's completely fine. So how we're gonna set up, we're gonna have our hands right below our shoulders, okay? This is just for the one on the toes, all right? We're gonna keep our Back isn't going to be slouched, nothing like this. We're not going to try and go like this. Our head isn't looking up. We're keeping a neutral spine, okay? And again, belly button to spine. Just trying to keep everything nice and tucked, okay? If you want to go on your knees, you just drop your knees. Again, my core is still engaged. My core is still tight. I'm not puffing my belly out. I'm not doing anything weird like this. I'm keeping my core nice and engaged, all right? What you're going to do if you're on your knees, you can relax your toes if you like, and you're going to bring your elbows back, okay? And the chest is going to come down. This is when we inhale. Exhale, push up, okay? Inhale. Exhale, push up. All right, if you can do this on your toes, that's great. What helps me is kind of thinking about bringing, like tilting my lower back in ever so slightly, and that can help to engage the core over here. When you start to feel this push out, that's when you might want to go into your knees as opposed to your toes. We'll just take a little breather just to make sure your core's engaged, because we don't want to put any excess or unnecessary strain onto our backs. All right, so if I demonstrate what that's going to look like is coming down, and again, I'm keeping my elbows in. This keeps the focus on the tricep, pushing up. Obviously, you don't have to go as slow as I'm going, but down, push up, like that, okay? And that is your tricep push-up. Okay, so for our last move of this workout, we're doing the chest press up, which is very standard. I don't even think I really need to demo that. Again, you can do that on your knees as well if you'd like. What we can do for this is bring our hands wide, all right? And we don't want them ahead of us. We don't want them back here. We want them in line with our shoulders, just slightly, I would say, a little bit wider than the shoulders, okay? And what you want ideally is when you go down, you should have a nice right angle. What you don't want is for this, like anything weird where your wrists are feeling uncomfortable and sore, because that's gonna put strain on them. We don't want that. So just make sure your wrists are comfortable, that when we go down and we bring our chest down, we have about like a nice right angle over there, and you feel that stretch in your chest. And then we're gonna push up. If again, you can do this on your knees, then that's great. Go ahead, do it on your knees. Again, keeping your core tight. Think about tilting that lower back in a little bit, bringing your belly button to your spine. Inhale. Exhale, push. You want to think about pushing the floor away, almost splitting it apart with your hands. And that's how you know. Got a nice push up.